He suddenly woke up with a jolt, trembling with fear. The moment he looked down, a scream escaped his mouth. In place of his actual legs, mechanical legs were now attached to his body. Driven mad by anger and fear, he kicked the door so hard that it broke open, and he ran out into the street. The people standing outside immediately aimed their guns at him, but at that exact moment, he felt a strange and incredibly powerful energy inside his new legs. In just a single second, he reached hundreds of meters away. His speed was so dangerous that even bullets could not touch him. Nick's past and the mysterious road trip? His name was Nick. Until recently, he was a student at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, a top student in his studies and an expert in hacking. From astronomy to geography, there was hardly any subject he didn't know about. However, since childhood he suffered from a disease in his legs, because of which he always had to walk with the help of crutches. That day he was on a road trip with his girlfriend Haley and his friend Jonah. They were helping Haley shift her belongings when, during the evening, Nick received a message from a mysterious hacker. An online battle had been going on between the two for a long time, but this time, the hacker had even hacked Haley's laptop and was monitoring her every move. Nick immediately started tracing the location. Jonah said they should find the hacker and teach him a lesson, but Nick was already in a bad mood. Somewhere deep down, he feared that Haley wanted to leave him because of his illness, and that this trip was just an excuse for a breakup. In his anger, he decided that he would find that hacker at any cost. On the road, the hacker constantly provoked them, sending pictures of their car captured from traffic cameras. Eventually, the GPS led them to a wooden cabin built in an isolated area. Nick and Jonah went inside and began searching the place while recording everything. Just then, Haley's scream was heard from outside. Nick immediately rushed out and saw Haley rising up into the air. The next moment, a bright white light flashed directly onto his face, and he lost consciousness. The mysterious laboratory and confinement, no one knows how much time passed. When he regained consciousness, he was sitting in a wheelchair, and his entire body was numb. A man wearing a hazmat suit was sitting in front of him. His name was Wallace Damon, referred to as Damon Pace. He told Nick that he would help him regain his memory. Damon informed him that they had come into contact with an alien life form and were likely infected. For several days, doctors kept questioning him, but Nick couldn't understand what was actually happening to him. He repeatedly asked about Haley and Jonah, but no one would tell him anything. Then, one morning, while being taken to the doctor, he saw Haley lying on a bed in one of the rooms. He wanted to meet her, but the doctors stopped him. Later, when he returned to his room, he heard his friend Jonah's voice from the adjacent room. He called out to Jonah and said, "I saw Haley today, but they didn't let me meet her. And I can't feel my legs either." Jonah informed him that the doctors had made him drink some strange fluid, and since then, his heart didn't feel normal. Now, the two decided to share information about everything they saw around them. From then on, Nick began keeping an eye on every single detail: which code opened which door, which people came to talk to them, and who went where. He memorized everything. After some time, the doctors took him in again. They placed objects of different shapes in front of him, and began testing his ability to recognize shapes and colors. But Nick refused to say anything. He stated, quote, "Until you let me meet Haley, I will not answer any questions." Forced by his stubbornness, the doctors took him to Haley, but she was in a coma. Escaping the facility, afterward, Nick returned to his room and began telling Jonah everything. But suddenly, Jonah's voice from the other side stopped. At that same time, an experiment was also being conducted on a cow inside the facility. Suddenly, the power in the entire building went out and someone escaped from the facility. Nick also went and hid in a dark bathroom. When the lights came back on, two men brought him out. It was then that he noticed very deep scratch marks on the wall. Later, he asked the doctor where Jonah was. The doctor replied that Jonah was never brought here. Nick was shocked. He said, "That's impossible, I was just talking to him." But the doctor gave no answer. When Nick returned to his room again, he called out to Jonah, but there was no response from the other side. This made it clear that Jonah had escaped from there. Nick now resolved to escape from this place with Haley. Over the past few days, he had memorized all the security codes and mapped out all the exit routes in his mind. He began fleeing with Haley, but just as he reached the final door, the doctor suddenly appeared there and caught Nick. Nick lost consciousness once again. When he woke up, he found himself on a bed right next to Haley. He was about to touch her when the staff grabbed his hands. At that exact moment, Haley lost consciousness again. Furious, Nick began fighting the staff. During the struggle, he fell off the bed. Seeing this, the staff panicked and fled the room. It was then that Nick's eyes fell upon his legs. His real legs had been amputated, and robotic legs had been installed in their place. But now, he could actually walk. These robotic legs were extremely powerful. Using them, he smashed through the doors. Anyone who came in front of him on the way was attacked and pushed aside. Haley was now with him. As the two were going down in an elevator, the doctor reached there and said, "If you go outside from here, the aliens will become a danger to you. You should stay here." But Nick did not listen to a single word. The outside world and the Area 51 mystery. After crossing a long, tunnel-like pathway, they finally emerged outside the facility. As soon as they got out, Haley also regained consciousness. The two looked around and saw that they were in a completely barren, desert-like area with nothing in sight for miles. After walking for a while, they found a road where a vehicle approached. They asked the driver for a lift. An elderly woman was sitting in the car, and she let them in. However, after driving some distance, she began talking strangely. Then, she suddenly stopped the car in the middle of the road and began laughing terrifyingly. Seeing this, Nick and Haley got scared and immediately jumped out of the car. There was a gas station nearby. Nick took Haley there and made her sit next to a truck. He tried to call his home from a phone, but the phone was broken. Just then, his eyes fell upon the truck next to which he had seated Haley. The truck was now driving away, and Haley was inside it. Nick immediately realized that the truck driver worked for the doctor and was taking Haley back to the facility. Therefore, he immediately started running after the truck. The most astonishing thing was that, due to his robotic legs, he was running much faster than a normal human. As soon as he got close to the truck, the driver opened the door and pushed him hard. Nick fell onto the road, but he wanted Haley back at any cost. So he ran after the truck again with all his might. The truck was speeding fast, yet Nick managed to catch it with the help of his new robotic legs. Inside the truck, Haley found a gun. She immediately aimed the gun at the driver. Afterward, the two threw the truck driver out and escaped with the truck. After traveling a long distance, they reached a point where the road completely ended. Forced to turn back, Nick suddenly realized that they had returned to the exact same road. At that moment, they saw a visitor center nearby. When they went inside, they found a map of the area. Looking at the map, they discovered that there was only one road in the entire area. Nick couldn't understand anything, and meanwhile, Haley's condition was continuously deteriorating. So the two decided to spend the night there. That night, while they were hiding there, the doctor's men suddenly arrived. Nick and Haley tried to hide from them. While hiding, they spotted their friend Jonah, the same Jonah who had previously escaped from the facility. But now, his hands were completely transformed. Both of his hands had become robotic, just like Nick's legs were robotic. This was the reason why, when Jonah had escaped earlier, such deep marks were left on the walls. Nick also noticed that the exact same number written on his own arm was also written on Haley's neck. Jonah said, "If you add these numbers together, they total 51. This means we are in Area 51, where scientists conduct bizarre experiments and now they are testing us. This is why your legs and my hands have been replaced. To them, we are just test subjects like lab rats." The ultimate sacrifice and the ultimate truth. The next morning, after the doctor's men left, the three got back into the truck and tried to find a way out. After driving some distance, they saw a checkpoint ahead. They tried to speed the truck through, but the military activated a massive pillar system that rose up and blocked the road. The system could only be retracted from the operating system. Jonah got down from the truck and reached the room where the laptop was kept. But just as he was about to lower the pillars, a bullet struck his glasses. His vision became blurred. Now, he could neither enter the code nor hack the system. Forced by the situation, he came back outside. He then unleashed the extraordinary strength of his robotic hands and smashed the entire pillar system to pieces. Thus, Nick and Haley managed to escape, but Jonah was left behind. His body was riddled with bullets. Seeing Jonah's sacrifice, tears welled up in both Nick and Haley's eyes. They kept moving forward, and finally, a massive bridge appeared before them. However, right in the middle of the bridge stood the doctor. Their truck couldn't even get close to the doctor before his men threw something onto the road, causing the truck's tires to burst and the vehicle to flip over. Haley was severely injured and knocked unconscious. At that moment, a helicopter arrived and took Haley away with them. The mind-bending twist. Nick was also severely injured, but he stood up once more using all his remaining strength. Just then, his eyes caught the doctor's name tag, which read Damon. The doctor's name was Damon, but when Nick read it backward, he realized it spelled Nomad, the mysterious hacker who had sent them the messages and hacked their college servers, framing Nick and his friend for it. The doctor himself now confessed the entire truth. He said, "Yes, I was the one who hacked your college servers and pinned the blame on the two of you. We also hacked Haley's system and sent you messages from her account. We intentionally provoked you so that you would eventually walk right to us. You yourself are responsible for the state your friends are in today. Following this, he revealed the ultimate truth. He said, "We use alien technology on humans. Out of all the humans we have experimented on so far, you are the best subject. Your body and brain have perfectly adjusted to these robotic legs. This means you are our most successful experiment." Hearing this, Nick exploded with rage. Utilizing the power of his robotic legs, he began sprinting toward the bridge at an unbelievable speed. His speed became so extreme that he suddenly crashed into an invisible wall. The force of the impact threw him to the other side of the wall. When he looked back, the doctor was still standing there. The doctor took off his helmet, and Nick discovered that he wasn't human at all. He was actually a robotic alien. Nick then looked out in front of him, and there, he saw outer space. At that exact moment, he realized that he was not on Earth. Rather, he was inside an alien spaceship. The number of that spaceship was 23,541, the exact same number written on his arm and Haley's neck. This meant it was never Area 51. It was actually a massive vessel belonging to robotic aliens who were testing their technology on human subjects. And with that, the movie